us what we're doing.
We're making syrup. Today's November the 12th.
November 12th, yep.
2016.
Okay.
Crews up front. They're pushing the sugar cane with an international harvester
Okay.
mill. So far we've got 85 gallons of juice. We might be halfway, but I doubt it. We're probably going to have 225 gallons of juice.
Okay.
It takes 7 to 10 gallons of juice cooked down to make a gallon of syrup. We have our furnace. Ike and I poured concrete and made the furnace here. What, like 15 years ago maybe.
Right.
We used wood to make the syrup to start with. For 2 years or 3 years in a row we've used gas. And Billy Ray and I have worked. That's
Billy Ray,
my first cousin. We worked 2 days getting our natural gas mixture where we'll have a blue flame. Before we've had a lot of red, which don't get hot enough.
Okay.
But we use, I think, less natural gas now with it burning blue flame. And it'll take probably an hour after we get through crushing the cane for the juice to start boiling.
So you have to crush all the cane before you start cooking?
Right.
All of it? Okay.
If you start the fire before you get through with the juice, you pour cold juice in water, the impurities will mix and will not rise to the top.
Okay.
So you get all of your juice in the pan, turn the fire on, and as the juice gets hot enough to bubble, all of the impurities will rise to the top. Then we rake the impurities to this end, turn the fire down to keep it from boiling. If it starts boiling, it will remix. So we turn the fire down, we rake the impurities to this end, then we dip them. This is called skimming.
Okay.
This is the only time we'll do a major skimming. After we do this complete skimming this first time, the rest of it will be just a little as the impurities rise, but it won't be a whole lot.
Okay.
And it will probably take 5 or 6 hours of boiling.
Okay.
All we're doing is boiling the excess moisture out of the juice, and what you got left is pure sugar cane syrup.
Pure sugar cane syrup, all right.
And we hope to get maybe 15 or maybe 20 gallons of syrup out of it.
All right, so
Uncle Ike is in charge of the juice. Look at us, Uncle Ike.
Uncle Ike, you're on camera.
Uncle Ike Uncle Ike is my brother-in-law. Pet's brother-in-law. My brother-in-law.
Here's the big pan.
There's 85 gallons of juice in there so far.
There's 85 gallons?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see
Now
the...
we get through, we should have juice to this line right here.
Okay.
That's a lot of juice.
And then you boil it down, and it gets all the moisture out of it.
I don't know if you got the mill up yonder where the juice is coming out.
I did.
We filter it through a croaker sack or toe sack.
Okay.
And then we've got an underground pipe bringing it down here.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
Like it's filling, we're putting 5 gallons of juice in a 7-gallon bucket.
Okay.
I pour the juice through a stainless steel screen that goes into
There's an old t-shirt.
a t-shirt and gets a lot of the impurities out before we ever dump it, before it ever goes into the tank.
Okay.
Uncle Ike is also keeping a record of how many gallons of juice we're going to
aluminum pan? The aluminum pan?
No, stainless steel.
Oh, stainless steel. Yeah, I knew you were talking about the
Yeah. I bought it from Mr. Can't even remember his name now. Wallace. Lived on town on Roy Road.
Reinforcing around keep it warm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I figured that.
That plus we can add more juice. By the time we get through, the juice will be up here, John.
Will?
Yeah. You can see.
This pan too, huh?
Sir?
This part of the pan too?
Yes, sir. This You see all them stainless steel screws along the bottom of it?
Oh, yeah. I thought they was just sitting in there, but I seen that.
Yeah. Mr. Wallace and his wife Liz had this, and they made syrup for several years. Then he got feeble and wanted to sell it,
Yeah, I knew you.
and I paid him $500. That's what he paid to have it made, and I bought it for $500. Now up above us right here, I don't know whether you can see this.
Yeah.
This is the first one I had. This is a baffle pan.
Okay.
But all of these joints right here are shoulder joints. When the juice comes in this end here, it's cold.
Okay.
As it travels down, you can see at the end of each one, opposite, you got it open. Juice
It just
travels
goes
from this way, all the way down.
Okay.
And as it goes down, it gets hotter and hotter. And down at this end, on the other end, we have a spigot where the syrup would come out over here. But the syrup, as it gets thicker, gets hotter.
Okay.
And it got hot enough down here that the sorter melted. We shouldn't have had a sorter joint on this end. But
Because it's
I
so
didn't.
hot.
I bought this evaporator pan. I didn't make it. If I had made it, you wouldn't have had a sorter joint down here.
Right.
Anyway, it got hot enough that the sorter melted, and I lost what syrup I was making.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, anytime a blaze gets on a joint where sorter is, it'll melt it. Even though the other side you may have wood up there to keep it cool.
Right.
But the side where the heat hits it, it'll melt it.
Now that's Uncle John.
That's Uncle
Dad,
John.
one of his younger brothers.
Yeah, I remember we used to have it more horses. Went round grinding. I said that dirt slower even than them old horse grinders.
Really?
And us kids would pull out the tubes and we'd pile them up in piles, and sometimes they'd be high as a house. And we'd get up and play on them, and they'd have that sweet in it, juice come out, and them old bumblebees get in and sting you.
We had bumblebees and honeybees and yellow jackets on this, Uncle John.
Any of these honey-making insects run to it. And
Right.
that's what
I
it's
mean,
about.
they'll get after you.
Well, in order to help my garden, like every year I raise watermelon, and one looks a little odd, I'll take it, bust it open, turn it up out there like that, and the bees will, and then you go back, they'll just be black, and bees will get that out. That helps the bees raise them. And then it'll also bring them to your garden.
Now this is Mr. John Lowe. This is a friend of mine.
Hey John.
Probably since '95 I've been friends with Mr. John. Dad and I went out. He was a county agent for the Caddo Parish. And Dad and I went out, must have been '97, because I wanted to take a test for to have a green card to buy insecticide.
Insecticide, yeah.
Yeah, and Mr. John Lowe, I met him out there, and pretty well been
Well,
friends
I
with
got
him.
license too, but
You do?
I eventually I quit yard work, and so I did keep my license up.
Right. You had to go to
And
2
now
hours.
I garden, as I'm able to now, and I go to him and get my insecticide.
Right.
So he got license.
Yeah. You have to have a 4-hour refresher course every 3 years to keep
okay.
your insecticide certification up.
Well, some of that stuff's pretty potent. I know a little bit about it.
I look down here. When we got ready to set this pan, and nobody else will show you, but Daddy and Uncle Lee and Paul, all of them, you put a layer of mud, the kind that you make mud pies with. You layer maybe a 2-inch all the way around where this tank sits.
Okay.
You set your tank down, and we've got a 4-foot level right behind you that we leveled. Like I said, with the mud, you can shove either
Squish it
side
down
to
so
make
that
it level.
Yeah,
get
that
level.
and all that stuff run back and forth.
Right. And you won't have problems with your fire coming out and burning you with this.
Oh, okay. So it's like caulking,
It is.
and it keeps it.
Right, but it's just mud or dirt out of my garden.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And this is where our syrup will come out
The first
eventually.
one come out.
Yeah.
Okay.
but it'll be late this evening
Yeah.
before we have surgery.
Is that why you got the lights?
Uh,
Is that what the lights are for?
That's
Like
it.
when it gets dark,
Working late at night.
you're gonna be working late.
Dr. John, how old are you?
I'll be 94
94.
in 2 months and 8 days.
Goodness. Looking good, Uncle
Dr. John
John.
had a twin brother, Billy Ray's daddy.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know what you're 4th or 5th in line. Daddy was the oldest. Uncle Lee.
Me and Ray and then me and Billy.
Daddy,
We
Uncle
the
Lee,
middle,
Uncle
like
Ray,
the
and Uncle
middle
John,
part of
Uncle
the
Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't Adele.
Yeah,
And then ain't Irene.
yeah.
And then Uncle Tim.
Well, Tim was between Adele and Irene.
Oh, between ain't Adele and Irene. Okay. Ain't Irene was the youngest. Ain't Irene
was
is
baby.
10 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And Ain't Irene and Ain't Adele claim to be my second mamas. My mother died when I was 2.5 months old, and Ain't Adele, I lived with Grandma and Grandma Parker. And Ain't Adele and Ain't Irene were at home at that time.
I remember your mother, she was having trouble, and they lived there in Monroe, and I went to CC camp, and I went to Oregon. I spent the night there, and Julie had gone to work in the radio shop, and she told me that the doctor wanted to even take y'all. She said, I'm not going to do it. So I told him, he said, you may not live to have them. She said, I'm going to die trying.
That's what my
See,
mom
she'd had a couple of miscarriages.
You're right.
You know, they was near term almost, and they'd have miscarriage. She had problems, and she was a good woman. I loved her. When Julian would be gone, she was sick. I'd go and stay and take care of her and cook for her, and do things like that around the house for her.
My mama died when Lucille. I have a twin sister, Lucille.
White disease, they called it. It was kidney
Right,
disease.
it was a kidney, yeah. But
Yeah.
she died when Lucille and I were 2.5 months old.
And just before she died, she turned over my mother, which was her mother-in-law. She said, take care of my babies. And Mama did. She did her best.
And Ain't
Raised
Adele-
them, you might say.
Yeah.
And when Julian took them, after he came back from the military, it hurt Mom.
Oh,
She was almost ready to fight.
yeah. I wish she could have kept us.
Well, Mom didn't much like the woman he married.
I didn't.
And
Still.
I was standing on the porch before Julian married her. And her daddy, Julian had his foot up on the porch, and her dad said, Julian said, for God's sake, don't let your wife treat your kids like Allie treated my kids. Allie was his wife, and he'd had some kids beforehand, and she'd put them in the trunk and sit down in the trunk. Then.
Wow. Okay, we've got some more juice coming in. There it goes,
Yeah.
end of the batch.
5 gallons of juice,
5 gallons. All right.
double strain.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's always stuff on the same place off. And, you
There's
know,
not much in it, Dr. John.
yeah,
Go
it,
through
no,
here.
Yeah, it looks pretty clear, but
Right.
This is to be continued. I will come back when y'all start the cooking.